Trevor with Red Wolf Customs, and today we're going to install a set of amp power steps onto this 2022 Chevy Colorado. All right, here's a look at the tools that you're going to need. 9/16 end wrench, small ratchet, 10mm socket, 13mm socket with an extension, a couple of vice grips, some pliers, some wire snips, Allen wrench, both SAE and metric. You're looking at a 5mm metric and a 3/16 Allen SAE. You're also going to need a tape measure, a drill, and some drill bits. What they're asking for is a 17/32, a 21/64, a 9/32, and an 1/8 inch, and then a heat gun to wrap up all your electrical work. All right, taking a look at the hinges real quick. Doesn't matter if they're driver's side or passenger side, they're all set up the same, so you don't need to worry about that. But you do have this one with this key here. This is going to be the motor or drive linkage, and it needs to go towards the front. The other one that does not have that is the idler linkage, and it can go towards the back. All right, now we're moving to the under the hood portion. So what you're going to need is your wiring harness and the brain control module. So what you're going to want to do, put this, unravel it. You're going to notice that one side is longer than the other. So the long side, we're actually going to snake down the passenger side and down the frame rail to feed the boards on that side. The shorter side, we're going to take there. And then you're also going to notice the purple leads. The purple leads go with the wires going down the driver's side, because we will bring them up through the floor and wire it to the OBD. I'll show you that here in a bit. But first, what we're going to want to do is get this situated with your brain unit. What you're going to want to do is get this someplace close to the battery. Here in this Colorado, we've got lots of space. We'll probably end up putting ours here. Always a good idea to put the connectors facing down, so if there ever is any water or anything coming in, it will just drain down. Before you start hooking anything up, what you want to do is take this fuse out, so that way there's no power going through the wires until everything's installed. That way you're less likely to blow the fuse or hurt something electronically. So what we're wanting to do is just kind of lay stuff in place. So take the longer lead, drape it over the engine. We'll secure that and feed that down the other side. And the shorter lead, what you want to do is find a good spot for it. They recommend following these AC lines, so air conditioning lines. They go down. You avoid the exhaust pipe, because we don't want that hotness melting any of this. Follow those down, and then we can take it to the outside of the frame rack. Whenever you're working on electrical, it's always a good idea to unhook your negative battery post, so that way you're not getting any accidental discharges. The 10mm here, loosen that up, tuck it out of the way so it's not going to accidentally arc. You're good to go. So now we need access to this power distribution block. Pull it off, loosen up here. So we need to get power to the boards. Best way to do that is here on this power distribution unit. What you're going to want to do is undo this 13mm here, loosen it, take your main power, go ahead and attach, and snug it down. Then your negative, go ahead and attach that to the negative battery terminal. 10mm, snug it down. You want to attach the main brain unit someplace out of the way, but still secure with the supplied zip ties. All right, working underneath the driver's side here, you're going to have a body mount right here, and it's got a hole. What we're doing is we're getting this rib nut up in there, so we need to make that hole just a little bit bigger. So we need to make it up to a 17/32. I got my step drill. We'll go ahead and make that bigger. Like that, and then we'll tighten her in place. Now to tighten it, they've given you this little rivet tool. So it's basically a screw with this spacer and a washer. You tighten it into the rivet like so. You get your 9/16 end wrench. You hold that, and then with a 13mm on the end of a drill gun, you put it up there. And what it's going to do is, as it screws in the bolt, it's going to flare out this rib nut and going to take up that space. Take your bolt back out, You've got the rib nut up there where it needs to be. Now, you're gonna take this funky little template, and you're gonna put it here on the pinch weld. And what you're wanting to do is line up this bar so the center of it is hitting the center of that rib nut. Get it in there. You want to press it up firm against the bottom of the rocker panel here, and then get you a couple of vice grips to hold it in place like so. We'll confirm that that is in the center. This is flat, level, and now you can drill your pilot holes. 1/8 inch drill bit. You're gonna drill out that pilot hole. Holes drill easy when you use some lubricant. Hit it with some penetrating oil. And while you're here with your drill, what we want to do is drill another hole here through the pinch weld for the light that's coming through. So grab you a center punch to mark your hole. You want to be back about 1.5 inches. Got this one here. Mark it. Drill another pilot hole. After you have your pilot hole drilled out, you can go ahead and make this one bigger. You want this one to be a 9/32, and then these ones, when you remove the plates there, you want it to be a 21/64. Then what you're going to want to do is you measure back from the center of the last hole. You want it to be about 29 to 29.5 inches, and then you put your template back on with your 1/8 drill bit. Go ahead and drill out your pilot hole, and then 2.5 inches behind there, you'll do your pilot hole again for your light for the back seat. All right, getting the bracket ready for the front. It's gonna mount like this, but you notice it's got a space. So they have this spacer here is positioned, and you'll notice the hole is off center. So you want the thicker part going towards the frame. So pushing the bracket further from the frame. So what you're gonna do, get this bolt into your rib nut, snug at this time, because we'll want a little bit of a movement as we adjust bracket, but you want to get most of it up there because it's gonna be son of a gun getting a wrench up to tighten it the rest of the way. So then get your bracket, and this is the front one. You want to make sure you grab the one with the star gear because the motor will attach to it. All right, so positioning this, you'll want to line up the 2 holes in the front with the holes that you've drilled. Then you've got these button screws with the Allen head. So you're gonna get it somewhat in position. All right, finger tight. And then before you tighten it, pick your hex hardware, one up from the bottom. Up top, same thing on the back side. Or I guess front side. Yeah, so just kind of get everything finger tight, because we'll put the boards on, we'll get everything situated, and then we will come back and tighten all this so we don't have any binding. Now I'll show you the back. All right, now to do the back bracket, you line up the front holes with here, get them finger tight. Struggle this hard to find the hole. There we go. All right, so you just want to get them in position, because what we need to do now is drill another hole under here. I'll show you why. Here we got this lower body mount support. We're gonna have to drill a hole through. So what we want to do is make sure we're flush, we're aligned. All right, just getting these guys finger tight gonna help keep you in position. Find the center. Move the bracket out of the way, and then you're gonna use our handy little rib nut tool again. Now we can our bracket back on. All right, so now that you got the brackets in place, what you're gonna want to do is get the board situated. It's gonna have the aluminum nut that slides through this T-slot. Then you're gonna take these Allen screws, and you're gonna go ahead and put them up and snug them down. Now, you don't want to tighten it just yet because you want to make sure you're centered. Show you what I mean. Want to make sure when the board comes up, you're sitting right about there, right about where that reveal is, because then in the back, as it goes up, right there at the end of the cab. So now that you've got the board situated front to back, you can go ahead and snug those down, and then you can tighten your brackets there and there. So as you tighten it, keep testing, make sure that nothing's binding, and that your gap here is the same as your gap back here. If for some reason that gets off, then you need to loosen the mounts here and then behind, so that way it can go freely. Get to snug up these 13 millimeters. Get up. Old side and then the middle one. Now that we're good here, good flexibility, we'll go ahead and install the motor. All right, now to get motor installed, what you want to do is line up star gear here, star in there. It's not always gonna align with where the board is positioned, so you may need to wiggle the board. All right, so after you feed the wires down, you go up on the other side of the frame rail, over here, and then the wires just follow here. You got your leads for the motor there and there, and these are for the lights, and then keep going back here, and that's for the lights in the back. So we'll zip tie all those up, and now I'll show you how to wire up the motor, and then also how to wire up your handy dandy LED lights through here, through that hole that we drilled there. You're wiring up the motor is pretty simple. Take your connector, slide it in, you hear it click, you're good, and you take your black plastic cover and make sure that the grommet lines up at the groove at the cover. Right. Slide up the rest of the wheel. Then it's gonna have these ears here. You take your plastic little press pins, get them lined up. Right, for the lights, first you gotta grommet that in the hole that you drilled, then pick your light, feed it through. All right, to put the light where you want it, go ahead and wipe down the area where it's gonna go. Peel off the backside of the 3M. Back rear, get up in here. Wood-handed. I put it where we want. There we go. And then you can hold it for about 15 seconds. 13, 14, 15. All right, now we can wire it up behind. All right, wiring these up is pretty simple. Do red to red, black to black. Flip it on. Like to give it a little tug. Make sure I got it on there good. Maybe a little bit better. Match in your reds and your blacks. Okay, now we're ready to heat shrink. You're in the heat gun.